Okay, we are recording.
And I'll just listen.
Okay, cool. So before we get started, I just want to double check, I always check first, 9th of April, 1974, 11:01 a.m. That's you.
That's
okay,
me.
Perfect, because we want us to read the wrong chart. Okay, Margie, so have you ever had a reading done before? I know
Yes.
you mentioned you had at birth you had your chart done, which is amazing, but have you had a reading done?
Yes, there's actually a reader on YouTube. His name is the Peace Dealer.
Okay.
And Michael is his name, but he goes by the Peace Dealer. He's in Las Vegas. He did one, and it's on his channel under Heyoka, because I'm a Heyoka.
Okay. Okay, I'd love to go watch it.
Yeah, if you want to, I could send you the link.
Please, I'd love that.
Yeah. So that was just like a few months ago.
Okay.
But
okay.
I'm pretty astrology savvy.
Okay. Cool.
So
I love that. Perfect. So we speak in the same language, which is great.
Yeah. I'm not a knob. I've been tracking my whole life.
Amazing.
I just don't sit and read charts because I don't have the time. And as you might know, I have a lot of energy and
I know
a lot
your
of
chart
ideas.
says it all.
So
okay, cool. Well, let's get cracking then. So the first thing I start with is the sun, moon, and rising, which I'm sure you know all about, but I'm just going to go into it anyway. So yes, your sun is in Aries, which I feel like is beautifully depicted over there. It's energetic, as you know, it's very strong. It's the warrior energy, which is so beautiful. It's very fiery, which I love. And I can see it kind of bouncing off the screen as we're chatting. So that's cool. But then it's really interesting because your moon is in Scorpio and like, wow. So I have a very soft spot for Scorpio moons. My sister has a Scorpio moon, which I love. And the way I like to describe it is like a quarry. So I always say like it's a really still and quiet on top, but underneath there's like a lot of turmoil and emotion and things going on underneath. Does that sound like you to yourself?
Oh yeah. I'm gonna turn this fan off.
Okay, no worries.
Here. All right, Mom. Can you hear this better? Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay, no worries. And then it's also interesting because, I mean, obviously, like I said, we have this pretty dark emotional moon, and takes a little while to open up to people. You know, it takes a little while to like reveal all those dark secrets and kind of taboo sexual energy, actually. And then your rising sign. So in traditional astrology, the rising sign is obviously kind of the mask you wear to the world or the way you project yourself to the world. But in esoteric astrology, it's your soul sign. It's kind of what you are rising towards, which is beautiful because that's the way people see you and you're rising towards that already. So yours is in Cancer, which is another emotional, like, beautiful.
It's caused problems, all the emotions.
I know, but it's so beautiful. It's like, it's a lot of the water. It's just, I relate. I have a Pisces moon, so that's why I'm like, okay. I feel you. I feel you.
Yeah.
And then obviously the Cancer is like, it's very emotional. It's the healer. It's a very mothering energy. So people probably come to you with like all sorts of problems, and you probably mother the world.
Yeah. I have 4 dogs.
Oh, there we go. It's like that you have to nurture. So I'm so glad to hear that, because I was going to say, like, a Cancer has to be nurturing something or someone, whether it's a plant or a dog or a child or a mother or whatever. You have to
cat.
nurture.
And then I feed all the trailer cats outside.
Of course you do. Of course you do. So the one thing that I would just mention, so I'm very into the elements. So for me, it's like the fact that you have this double water and this fire, like, don't let that water drown your fire. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you've got this fire.
No, actually, it makes steam.
That's what you want.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. That's what you want. So then I was having a look at kind of your Saturn and the timing of things. I don't know how into Saturn you are, if you've looked into your Saturn returns.
I have Saturn on my shoulder.
I mean, Saturn is always on your shoulder, right? So that's perfect. Wow, it's beautiful. I have a fake moon going on over there.
Nice.
It's busy brewing. So
Nice.
what happened for you in about 2003 that was kind of Saturnish, if you know what I'm saying? A death, a birth, a breakup, a move in country, a move in job. Was there a big event in your life around 2003?
Right. It was the beginning of a very karmic relationship
Okay,
that
so
lasted on and off for 8 years, and it ended in 2010. And I was like, this ain't fun no more.
okay, so 2010 is when your square happened.
Yeah.
So that's perfect. I mean, that's so Saturn, right?
Yeah.
And so your
Yeah, I
Saturn.
got sober in 2002, and then I met a girl.
Oh,
And
okay,
then,
so those are two big things, right? Getting
Yeah,
sober is
yeah.
like, oh my God. Okay, so that's perfect. So getting sober is huge because your Saturn is in Gemini.
right.
And so,
Oh, and I also went to Operation Iraqi Bullcrap in 2003. That was kind of wild.
that's a lot.
Well, it wasn't really, because I was on the island of Crete, and I was staying at the Panorama Hotel, which is a 5-star hotel.
Yeah.
So it was like really kind of surreal because it didn't hit me. And I was flight line support. So I
Okay.
flipped off George Bush on 9/11 as he taxied by the aid shop. I hung my arm out the door and flipped off his plane in case he looked.
You probably
You know.
did.
I hope he did.
I hope so too.
But I mean, that long story long, I took a pilot to his B-1 bomber, and I
Wow.
got to go up into the aircraft. Okay. And I'm an energetic sensitive, right? So I was like, at first I was like, wow, this is really cool. But I did a video a couple years ago telling this story, and you can see how it hit me.
Yeah.
That it was like I felt the scream of every person that died from the bombs that plane dropped, and you could see it on my face, like, oh, that was my job, you know. I
Yeah.
only did 6 years, but it was just like, I kind of transmute negative energy,
Yeah.
wherever, you know. So I had to go there to transmute generations of energy. And so, and also I talk about all the fraud, waste, and abuse that I saw there that's coming out now. So
well,
I'm a whistleblower.
Well, that's your Scorpio moon is built for that, right? Like you are literally built for that. That's why you're here.
Yeah,
like,
that's my little tube is so tiny. It's taken me 4 years, and I was just talking before we started this because I piss people off. It's what I do.
That's
That's
why
what
you're
Heyoka do. So I'm not male. I'm never gonna be like big because I'm a contrary. So even if people start agreeing with me, I'm gonna start acting in a way that they don't.
I know, but then you'll find a new audience.
Exactly. So it's growing, but it's very organic. And I didn't want to tell you about it until after we spoke.
I'm really glad you didn't. I'm really glad you didn't, because I like that I were meeting for the first time, because I think it would have clouded my perception maybe a little bit.
Yeah. So and it's my title up there, Third Eye Activated.
Okay,
so.
I'll definitely go and have a look. Well, yeah, I mean,
I'll email it to you.
You are so self-aware. It is beautiful. Like, I mean, yeah.
Thank you.
It's a beautiful thing to see. But just so it's interesting because all those things you've just spoken about are so represented in your big three. Actually, you kind of embody your Aries and Scorpio, Cancer like this. But I think your Saturn return is really interesting because, you know, for Gemini, even though you are, and with your YouTube, it's amazing because you are super communicative, you do relay stories really easily, it like your thoughts come out really easily. And of course, with the water, it's like you can convey the emotion beautifully to people. But Saturn comes to say, your crazy head and all those ideas and all that confusion need to focus. And that's like your big life lesson. If you hear nothing else from the session, like for me, when I looked at your chart, I was like, you need to just deep breaths, get the air through you, and just focus. And whether you do that with blasting music in your ears to try and focus, or whether you write and journal, that's how I do it. I like bullet list and just focus on one thing at a time. But like Saturn is going to come around and kick your butt until you learn.
Yep. I meditate, but I try to go about an hour a day. I try to do about an hour a day. Doesn't happen. And I know some days the energies aren't fit, because I'm in Teos, New Mexico, and this is a full spectrum place. There's a lot of
energy
from high to low, because there's a lot of dark and a lot of weird stuff here. So anyway, but yeah, I meditate. Because I have to focus, because I fall down. I'm so clumsy. Like I literally have to focus.
Yeah, you have to.
Are you hearing this?
So another thing I want to talk to you about is, what is your relationship with money?
With money, I look at it as energy.
Okay.
I give people money and things on the street all the time. Like a guy that shows me around town, I met him because I'm drawn to people, and he was standing out in front, and I was like, hey man, because I went into Walmart and I buy a couple of, because people donate money to me.
Okay.
And then my rule is, once we get our property, because we're kind of in limbo right now, but I'm working to buy a little piece of property just so we can be stable, because I'm tired of moving.
Yeah.
And once we do that, we're gonna but the guy, I'm gonna keep 49% whatever income I get, because all of our bills are paid,
Yeah.
with my little stipends and stuff, and mom's little, so I don't have to work, but I have all this experience. So whatever I make, I'll keep 49%, because my birthday is 4/9, and then I'll give 51% away.
Okay.
Because if I do it the other way, it will rule me, and that way I feel like I'm ruling it.
So the reason I asked,
I give a lot of money away.
The reason I ask, and I can see that, the reason I ask is because you have 0 Earth in your chart.
Yeah, it's just like Deborah. Deborah has 0 Earth too.
Yep.
She's the only other person I've known that has 0 Earth. That's why I like her.
I've never seen it. There's 0 Earth in your chart, but really interesting. So even though you have no Earth kind of in the signs, you have a stellium in the 10th house, and the 10th house is ruled by Capricorn, which is an Earth sign. So that kind of probably earths you a lot more than you would have thought.
It's weird. I ground a lot. I have to be in nature a lot. I ground a lot.
Yeah, you probably
so I have
need
to be
that. So if you know that you need it, yeah. And you know what? It's not even just nature. It's natural things. So like, go and make sure you're cooking a meal twice a week. Like go and buy fresh stuff and cook the meal, and like enjoy the earthly kind of goddess powers of eating a meal that you've cooked. And also just get practical about money. That's a big earthly thing, and it sounds like you're already getting there. So just make sure that everything is balanced and everything's looked after, because you can kind of sway both ways with that lack of earth.
I can float a 20-cent loan for 14 days in the bank. So because mom, we grew up, because mom, we only had a $5 margin during the custody suit. So like, and sometimes we would get the electricity bill and the phone bill in our stocking for Christmas with an orange. So we pay our bills. I mean, she did a good job.
Sounds like it. It sounds like it. And sounds like you guys make a great team as well, which is brilliant.
We do. Don't we, Mom? We make a good team. Very much so.
And another thing that kind of jumps out about your chart, and I don't know if I actually want to show you. I don't know if you know you have a grand trine. Do you know you have a grand trine?
I do. I just never remember where.
Okay, let me share my screen with you quickly. Give me a second. Share screen. Let me show you this. Okay, can you see that?
Yes.
Okay.
Can I take a picture of this?
Please do. I can send it to you as well if you like.
Oh, that's cool. Right on.
Okay, so your grand trine, you're welcome. Your grand trine is this big kind of blue triangle here. So the blue lines represent ease and flow and kind of, I guess an easy exchange of energy. Now that might sound wonderful and beautiful. I have a grand trine as well, but because it's so easy, it can become either stagnant or it's so easy that it's dormant. Like you kind of just don't activate it, which I have a feeling you don't have a problem with, just from our little conversation. And it's really interesting because most grand trines lay in the same element. And yours is skewed. So yours is an air, I know, of course, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. So yours is air and water, which is like super rare. It's like geometry, like trumped kind of the stars. Okay. Like I've never seen a grand trine that isn't in all three elements, but yours is. And I guess what that just shows is that, like, exactly like we spoke about, how you are able to communicate and you're able to talk and you are a talker and you must, which is just carry on with your YouTube because it's perfect. But the energy and the emotion flows so easily as well, which is beautiful. But I think it's a good idea to remember that not everyone is the same as you. So it's very, like, I don't understand. I'm like, why don't you understand emotion? Or why can't you feel? Like, you don't feel what I'm feeling. I don't understand. And so I think you need to remember
My
that.
brother's a Virgo.
So
My brother's a Virgo. Are you a Virgo?
I'm Virgo.
But you're the balanced Virgo. He is an imbalanced Virgo.
Yeah. So, okay, well, there we go. And your brother's probably the earth that you saw.
Oh, cool. What are you? Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
Virgo.
a lawyer.
Ah, there we go. That's so Virgo.
He's worked for the state of California for like 26 years. But he started out as a computer programmer.
Okay.
And then throughout that whole time, he enlisted in the reserves.
Yeah.
National Guard, because they're even more wimpy than the reserves. But he's been in that since the 1989.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So he's like
so
a
just
lieutenant
remember,
colonel.
your brother does not have a grand trine in air water. And so
Thank you.
It's important to understand that, right? Because for us with a grand trine, it's something that comes so easily to us, and it's really difficult to understand that somebody else doesn't experience life like that.
But I can still understand that they don't.
Well, yes, of course you can, because you have that water. Like, you are so empathetic. It's of course you can understand, but it's just a good reminder. And then I want to talk about your stellium in the 10th house. So the 10th house is about career, reputation, authority. It's interesting because it's quite a authoritative parent role versus your rising, which is like the nurturing parental role. So you have both, which is quite strong. But that stellium in the 10th house, that's, for me, I like, my first thing is like workaholic career, that's your focus in life, but that's not always the case. 10th house sun, so your sun falls in there as well, is often associated with being a slow starter, so to kind of like someone who starts their very successful business but much later in life. It's not a guy who started at 19 and is whizzing in Facebook or whatever. So does that resonate with you at all?
Absolutely. You're spot on. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I know, see, the thing is because I've known astrology my whole life, I know who I am, and mom has always verified who I am too. I'm a person of integrity too.
Yeah.
So I know, but other people that don't have it aren't going to recognize it in me. So it's not going to be my time until these people start stepping into themselves.
Yep, but you can help them do that, right?
I'm just kind of waiting around, but yeah, you were spot on.
Okay, because it's interesting, because not only do you have a stellium in the 10th house, but you also have your sun, which is kind of the big theme for your life. And your Mercury, which is your thinking and your processing, is also in the 10th house. So it's also about kind of career and ambition and reputation and kind of your social status in life. But your Mercury also falls into Pisces, which is... That's those thoughts of yours, which is like, you're swimming this way and then you're swimming that way and you don't know which way the current's going to take you. And it's just like, it's wow. So your Mercury is in Pisces, your Saturn is in Gemini. There's a lot going on in that brain of yours, which is beautiful and problematic at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. I make really good canna cookies.
Oh,
They
I'm
help.
sure. Yeah, so I mean, I love that. I've never met someone with a Mercury in Pisces. I have a moon in Pisces, so it's like I understand how you
Oh,
feel,
that's
but
cool.
yeah, but my mind is in Virgo, so I'm like I battle to understand how you don't get to think straight, right?
Right.
But I think there's such beauty in it, because for me Pisces is it's very spiritual, so like your thinking and your speaking, like that all comes through you, and people obviously see that on
Yeah.
your YouTube channel, which I'm dying to go and watch.
Mom always says, ever since you were little, ever since you were young, you were just thinking about like 5 things at once.
And I'm sure big
And
things.
yeah, and see, because I went into the Air Force when I was 26 and I was a mechanic, flight line support. I won awards, but I couldn't handle what it was. It was just like every other corporation that drove me nuts. And how we did things didn't have anything to do with rules and standards and regulations. It had to do with the ego of who was in charge and how they felt that day. And it freaking ticked me off. So I never planned on doing more than 6. I just knew that I was going to be looking out for Ma. We were going to be together for a long time. So I needed to go to college. So I went to college for computers. So I'm tech support.
Okay.
And I worked at my last job. I worked at G4S Secured Solutions, is third largest employer in the world.
Wow.
It
Wow.
had
Okay.
384,000, and I was the IT for the North, and so, but I just became a work from home daughter about 15 years earlier than I had anticipated.
Well, work from home daughter is exactly what you should be, because you're focused on work, but you're at home with that Cancer rising is exactly where you need to be. So that's really great that you, like, whether it was you or life or whatever, like you're exactly where you need to be, which is so beautiful.
You hear that, Mel? She heard.
The other thing I just want to touch on, because I see we're running out of time, but I just want to mention this to you, is so your progressed moon, I don't know how much you know about your progressed moon, or if you've kind of looked into this at all.
I can't remember if Michael talked about that or not, but
well, even if he did, your moon progresses every 2.5 years.
Yeah.
So your progressed moon is currently, let me just make sure I'm right, but your progressed moon is sitting in Leo, if I'm not mistaken. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't stand the Leo King.
So I'd say about a year ago, 12 months, you entered your progressed moon in Leo. And when did you start your YouTube channel?
I started it on the 26th of March, 2017.
Okay. Well, let me tell you that about a year ago, you are perfect for YouTube. And I think you've got probably about a year and a half to go of being in this Leo progressed moon. And I would just tell you to like focus all that. Look at me. I'm very dramatic and I'm shiny, but I've got a lot to say. Use that energy onto your YouTube for the next year and a half, because it is power. It is power energy, and Leos need to be seen, and Leos need to be heard, and Leos need attention. And you need to harness that energy now before it kind of moves on up in the next year and a half. Yeah. But it's interesting because your progressed moon is also currently going into the 3rd house. In fact, I think it might be in the 3rd house already. Give me a seckie. You might just be touching the 3rd house. So the 3rd house is about studying and learning, and so it's a great time for you to kind of like just focus on whatever it is that you want to learn, whether it's focus on the YouTube thing or not. I'm not sure if it's kind of related, but it's also a beautiful thing because we spoke about your Saturn having this confusing energy and like your mind being all over the place, and like this is a great time for you to kind of focus and learn and study and just broaden your horizons in that sense.
Yep.
And again, that's only for the next kind of year and a half, and then that's going to go into the 4th house, which is all about home and shooting roots and moving. So maybe in the next year and a half you'll be finding a place to.
Yeah, because that's about how long we have in this place.
Okay, well there we go. So in a year and a half you'll be heading into the 4th house.
It lines up. That's good. Thank you. Is there any way I could write like a review or a note of
Oh, I would love that.
recommendation.
You can write one and you can send it to me and I can ship it on off. I would
Or
love that. That's so fun.
actually, I'd probably be better just talking about you on YouTube if you
Oh,
don't
that would
mind.
be wonderful.
'Cause I'm gonna mention it anyway.
Oh, thank you. That's so
So
sweet. So
yeah,
what
yeah,
what kind of
absolutely.
stood out for you the most if you had to say over our previous half an hour? What was like the big takeaway for you?
The big takeaway is that you gave a little bit, you told me a little bit about like me, asked how I am now, and then you kind of reaffirm for things in the future too that are
Okay.
lining up. So it's just like past, present, future, you encompassed all three.
Oh, I'm so glad. That's brilliant. I'm so glad you got that. It helps that we're speaking the same language.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, that's amazing. Okay, Margie.
Very
Well,
cool.
I hope I gave you something, and I hope you could take something away from this.
You
And I hope,
did. And I'm gonna
yeah,
send you the link to my
your
YouTube
YouTube.
channel.
Please do, and
Yeah.
I'll
One
look. Are
tiny
you
tube.
anywhere else? Can I find you somewhere else? Instagram or somewhere?
I am on, I call it Instacrap. Snapnax, because that's what kind of my vision is, to do pick your price photography, because
Oh,
I live in a touristy spot and it's a really spiritual place, so a lot of people would come here,
yes.
to yeah, yeah, and there's a lot of art, it's a lot of yuppie New York. It's, I don't know, it's new to me, but I didn't know that so many people had such a high opinion about this place until I got here,
Okay, well,
because
then
New
that's lucky that
Mexico
you're
was
there.
never on. Yeah, well, and it's also, you might think this is interesting. Mom was adopted in 1953,
Okay.
and she was born in El Paso in 1950, lived in an orphanage for 3 years. She was born with club feet. And then when she moved away, she got adopted, she moved to Arizona and then back out to California. And then we got back here, we did DNA tests, and found out that she has first cousins in Cuesta, about 20 miles from here.
I just got goosebumps,
So she does
honestly.
have blood relatives. I just haven't found them yet. So
Oh
that's
my
why God brought
goodness.
us here.
Well, yes, and
Yeah.
your own spirit obviously felt that, right? Like you obviously got guided
Oh,
there.
yeah. Yeah. And I found it, you can see it on my YouTube channel, but I found it all through chats in YouTube.
Wow.
Because nobody would rent to me with my 4 dogs.
Did you do
And I just put it out.
the 23andMe? Which one did you do? The DNA test?
I did the ancestry because my brother had the ancestry done for her.
Yes.
So I wanted to stay congruent.
Yeah, apparently that's the better one to
stay.
do if you are from the States, because I think it has a bigger database in the States.
I found out I was 53% Scottish. That
Oh,
no,
wow.
51, no, what, 43, but still I'm like, what?
That's huge.
Well, no, especially because if you know about my storyline and the Scottish Rite Freemasons and the bloodlines and all that stuff, that makes weird stuff that happened when I was a kid make sense.
Well, you should have a look at your if you go onto astro.com and you put in all your details, you can go and have a look at your I can't remember what they call it, but there's like an astro geo astro or something, where you can actually have a look at where your lines lay across the world and kind of where are significant places in the world for you. And it'd be really interesting to see kind of how your DNA matches to your current life versus your astro life.
I bet 34 and the 40th parallel are both very significant. I'll say that now. I'll go do it and I'll let you know. I'll send you an email.
Okay, cool.
So, all right, Danielle, I'm gonna get going. I've taken enough of your time.
No, it was so
wonderful.
Wonderful to meet you, and it was so lovely to look at your charts. And thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you so much. You have a lovely day.
You too. Bye. Thank you.